coming at you with the third raid boss of the Halloween event, Hypno. It starts by setting Reflect. We missed the first turn. I forgot to hit the record button, unfortunately, so you'll have to forgive me. The most important thing you can do to deal with that Reflect is probably set Defog. Dark type doesn't have any accuracy problems, but in case your team members are also dealing with accuracy problems, that evasion debuff is super helpful. But really what you want to do is get rid of that Reflect. Hypno is a special defense tank, and Reflect makes it just a tank overall. So getting rid of that Reflect really helps the dark type physical attackers, which there are many. So leading with a defog, I would say, is probably one of the most important things that you could do. If you're solo queuing, I would bring something that can defog in the event that your team doesn't have it. Otherwise, something that can do a lot of damage with it would be very good as well. You'll see me, I have my Krook up here. One of the interesting things about the dark type is, as an offensive type, is your best option is Assurance, but it only works if someone else has done damage. So you want to coordinate with your team to see whose Pokemon is fastest, and the fastest will use something other than Assurance, while the rest can use Assurance. Pro tip is that Hydreigon has a higher base speed than most, so using Hydreigon to Dark Pulse, allowing all your physical attackers to Assurance, is great. Otherwise, Sucker Punch is super useful, or the fastest can just use Crunch, like my Crocodile in this case. At 75%, we do get that Hypnosis set, so Safeguard could be useful. And then the 50% move is Trick Room. So what I had hoped to happen here was to have my Crocodile faint, and then I could bring out Spiritomb to set Trick Room. Unfortunately, as luck would have it, I guess my Crocodile was a bit too bulky, and the AI favored attacking my teammates first. I was not able to get out my Spiritomb right close to this 50% mark, as you can see. So I was forced to just use Crocodile here. Trick Room does go off. Really, the idea is you want to set Trick Room as close to 50% as possible. If you're not aware, if a Pokemon uses Trick Room while it is already active, it removes Trick Room from the field. So the key really is, if you know that you're going to get close to 50%, you can set it on that turn. So let's say you have your Trick Roomer out in Spiritomb, and then you have 3 offensive Pokemon out. They push it all the way up to, let's say, like 55%. You could use Trick Room reliably that next turn and know that you're going to push it into that Trick Room phase, and then by the end of the turn, the Trick Room will go off, undoing it. You just want to minimize the time under Trick Room. Hypno is very slow. Marowak is very slow as an ad, so they do really benefit from that. It can just totally end the raid if Trick Room isn't dealt with. So 2 most important things, I'd say. Trick Room is probably the most important, and then dealing with that Reflect is very useful at the beginning as well. Just low effort. The Trick Room is a bit harder to time. The Reflect is very easy to deal with. Hypno. Hypnosis is a little bit iffy. It's got that accuracy problem, so it's not entirely necessary that you deal with it, but could be useful if you're coordinating with a full 4 link. So talking about Spiritomb a bit more, the AI hates targeting it. Pretty much anyone who brought a Spiritomb that I played with has had every Pokemon alive in the back, which does cause for a bit of frustration for players who are completing the fight but have no Pokemon alive. They're still not getting rewards. That bug is still active. So it is a bit of a problem. If you're solo queuing, probably need something like a Spiritomb, just because the AI will favor attacking other things, and Spiritomb is pretty useful. You have the option to Trick Room when that comes up. You have Sucker Punch, and then speaking on the final mechanic at 20%, Hypno will invert all stats. Sorry, not stats. It will invert typing, rather. So what that means is anything that is not very effective becomes super effective, and everything super effective becomes not very effective. Spiritomb is really good for this. It has Psychic coverage as coverage. So normally Psychic would obviously resist Psychic. You can use Psychic in that case to do super effective damage when that phase happens. Otherwise, you can bring fighting types like Metacham in the back. This was unfortunately a bit too early. My team member ran into a problem where they just got focused by the boss and they were out of Pokemon, so this was their last, and still had to use the fighting type into Hypno before that typing inversion happened. As an overall moveset, I would say Sucker Punch, Trick Room, Psychic, and then maybe Nightshade. Psychic or Nightshade, I'm not sure what's going to do more damage. I wasn't able to click Psychic, and I was also seeing Nightshade do about 3.5% to the boss, so that fixed damage could just be better overall. Could put them all on there and just have a nice move set for this fight in particular, especially if you have alts that you need to do it a few times on. So Spiritomb is probably going to be your carry. I also heard some people bringing Shaman and the boss not targeting them. I really don't think that Shaman's going to get all that much value, but if you need to bring something that you hope that the boss won't target to ensure that you live long enough that you're solo queuing to get rewards, that's an option. I was seeing something like Toxic Seed Flare as your offensive moves for that. So it's really whatever you can do to outlast your teammates. It's kind of this war of attrition against your Link members to make sure that you are still alive when the boss goes down. Creates really awkward gameplay dynamics, to be quite honest. If you are struggling with this, you're not alone. A lot of people I've spoken with have said that they're swearing off raids until it does get fixed. It just feels very bad to beat the raid over and over and just be the unlucky one that gets trained by the boss and you're stuck with nothing at the end of it. So really praying that gets fixed. Otherwise, yeah, I would say, bring all your hard-hitting physical dark type attackers. You'll do great against this one. If you do have Sun, still works pretty effectively against this. You still need Trick Room. Just grab a Spiritomb. That works well. You could go do your Wisps and get your Alpha Spiritomb and use that as your Trick Room setter. So that could give you incentive to kind of do more phases of the event. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck with this raid. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful. Good luck, and hope that you survive to the end of the fight so you actually get the reward. Other than that, GG's, good night.